Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's masterclass. We're diving into the vital topics of online safety, entrepreneurship, and empowering the next generation to thrive in a digital world. Our guest today is Jacqueline Bartley. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. Jacqueline Bartley has worked in the telecommunication industry, both in Jamaica and in the United States, for over 30 years as a training manager. She holds a PhD in management education and currently serves as a CEO of Teach Universal, where she is an advisor and mentor to students in Jamaica and has recently partnered with two organizations in Nigeria to mentor and teach middle school children who are disadvantaged in the educational system. Dr. Bartley is a graduate of St. Hugh High School, born in Britain to Jamaican parents who returned to Jamaica in the 1970s. She is the founder of Every Child Matters International, a nonprofit that supports youth empowerment, leadership development, and community education to address social injustices upon communities of color. She also serves on the board of St. Hugh's High Alumni Association, where she raises funds to provide scholarships and mentorships for students in Jamaica. Her nonprofit, ECMI, focuses on support for human trafficking survivors, helping them to tell their stories, to bring awareness to the issues. She believes that a multidisciplinary task force approach to addressing the problem of human trafficking is necessary to help end this epidemic. She served as a CEO for Project Single Moms Atlanta, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing emergency services and resources to single mothers throughout the country. She is the author of Ice Cream Saturdays, I Am Smart Online, This is Africa, and is currently working on a third children's book. So everyone here, let's welcome Dr. Jacqueline Bartley.
Thank you for that introduction. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. It's always good to discuss this topic. I'm passionate about it, as you know. So I take every opportunity to talk to people about online safety because it's so crucial right now.
Let's get started with your your books.
Mhm.
The one that we're going to talk about first and foremost is I Am Smart Online. What inspired you to write that book? And what's the core message you hope readers take away?
Yeah. I think first off was my awareness. So a lot of my friends who have children and grandchildren, and I see that the internet has become the babysitter these days.
Mhm.
A lot of times I see people handing their kids a tablet, sending them off in a little room, and that should keep them busy. And I worried about that. So I wrote this book with the goal of helping parents and children to safely navigate the internet. So, as you know, the internet has a wealth of information and can be very beneficial in education in general. However, it is important that children know that there is some danger there. So we want to approach it in that way to have them know that it can be helpful, but it can also be dangerous. So we want to keep them safe. So that was what inspired me. So I basically sat down and said, what are some easy ways to guide children in this way? And of course, kids love acronyms. It's easy to remember. And
Sure.
so I Am Smart Online was born.
I love the name. I do. I do. Okay, so what are some key strategies you share in your book that will help protect kids in the digital space?
Okay, so the acronym, right? SMART. Um, in a sense, we want them to be smart, of course, online. But the SMART has a specific meaning that we want them to remember. So the S would be for safety. So overall, we want them to be safe online in terms of knowing the websites they're going to, not sharing password, not sharing their personal information, right? So that's the S. And all of this you'll find in the book. The M would be for meet. So you want to have them be careful of strangers that they're going to meet online and not make any type of arrangements to meet people outside of that space. So a lot of times we have children who will share too much, say, you know, I go to this school. Of course, they think they're
Of
communicating with
course.
someone their own age, and it's not,
Mhm.
right? So I go to this school, I go to that school, and then these people show up and they'll call you by name. Hey, Jimmy. And you respond because it's your name and you're familiar with this person, and then things happen, right? So that's the M. The A is to not accept any files or any um, communications with people that you don't know. So
Mhm.
so that accept. A lot of times they'll send you files to open that might corrupt your database, might make your information vulnerable. So that's the A. The R, real. We need for them to know that not everything they see or hear online is real.
That's crucial. Yes.
And we know that a lot of people put pictures that are not themselves, right?
Mhm.
Um, uh, Adults do that too. A lot of what we see on Instagram and Facebook that people do, people stand beside other cars. They'll go to a car dealership and stand outside a Porsche that you might think is there. So the same thing happens with children, right? So we want to make them know that reality is not usually what we see online,
What you
right?
see.
Yeah. And then the T, very important, talk, which is you should be listening to your children. When they want to talk, you listen. When they don't want to talk, you ask questions. So that
Very.
talk aspect is very important. So hopefully it says smart, but a parent will be able to go a little deeper and get their attention so they remember that acronym. And you'll see for those who get the book that even the main characters in the book, which are young children, 7 and 9, they are telling this to their friends and saying, see, I am smart online and this is what it means. And this is what we want children to do, taking that leadership role and passing it on so that we have educated young people. And that's what
Yes. Yes.
educated and
Learn and then
aware.
teach. Mhm.
That's what we want. Yes.
Love it. Okay. So you also founded a nonprofit.
Mhm.
Could you tell us about the mission of this nonprofit?
So it all boils down for me to human trafficking, right?
Mm.
So Every Child Matters International was organized exclusively to break the cycle of human trafficking, which is the second largest criminal enterprise in the world. And most people don't even think of it that way. But to date, about 14.5 million persons have been trafficked.
Oh,
Million,
wow.
right? It is, I think that on last check, it was like an $85 billion business. So people are making money from this. So it's a fight, right? So we know that there are some people who are very vulnerable to this, right? But the reality is human trafficking is not what you see in the movies, right? Everyone has probably seen the movie Taken by now.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, so we visualize trafficking as someone grabbed in an airport and locked in a cage, but that is really, in reality, not what mostly happens. A lot of it happens, family members do it. A lot of it happens, the interaction happens online. The first
Mm.
interaction happens online. And so the records indicate that it's 12 to 14-year-olds that are most trafficked. So we want with our nonprofit to get to children before they get to that age,
Age.
to
Yes.
make them aware of the things they need to be looking out for in a gentle manner. We don't want to scare them, right? But we want them to be aware. So there's a difference. So they are going to meet people in the world, it's inevitable, but we want them to know that not everyone is safe, even if it's a family member. You know, we have family members that are not safe. Most of
Wow.
the trafficking is done by people they know. So we
And
want
that's
them,
scary to
it
even
is,
think about.
it is. And it is something that, well, we grew up being told to be beware of strangers, right? And that's probably what we pass on to our own children. But the truth is, strangers are not the ones that are mostly doing this.
Mm.
So, you know, it's serious, and we take it seriously. And our approach, our focus right now is getting to children before this happens. So that's why the books, the talks, the advocacy work that we do is happening right now.
Great, 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 great. Wow, it's really a scary thought to know that it's closer than you think.
Close to
Wow.
home.
Yes, close
Trafficking
to.
happens in every zip code. Every zip code in the United States has trafficking happening. So
Mm.
it's in yours, it's in mine, it's in theirs. So yeah.
Yes, yes, and the book that you written really touched on the safety. What are some of the lessons of digital literacy and safety that you would give?
Yeah,
Would
what I would say to parents as well as educators, right, is to be aware of boundaries that you can set, right, and teach children that in terms of first thing is setting specific internet time. And
okay,
I say that because I have noticed that a lot of people it's just a free for all. You know,
mhm,
as I said, it's the babysitter, right? It's the babysitter now, but you have to set specific times, determine what age appropriate content they're watching. So you're going to have to do some parental control on their devices, right? Because when you, I saw someone hand a 4-year-old their phone, right? And that was, go play while I was in the airport and I'm looking and you
that's
know,
very young.
I'm clenched up like the child looked about 4. And I mean, she was playing on the phone, but the point is that there are things that they can run into on that phone by accident
Oh
that
yes,
that is inappropriate, right? So you want to also teach cybersecurity basics. And by that, I mean password security, right?
okay.
Being aware of what might be phishing. So you're going to have some text messages sent to you with a link and things like that. They need to know not to open. Yeah. So some things, these people have gotten very creative. So they will send something and it looks like it came from someone that you know.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
you want to be
exactly.
careful of that. And of course, the most important thing is keeping your personal information private, right? For the kids, it's
Very important.
where you go to school, your parents' name,
Where you
um,
live.
where you live, of course, your birthday and things like that. They'll send you things on your birthday to reel you in, so it's a rough world out there if we're not careful for our kids. So
Correct. Correct.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, as an entrepreneur, you've started businesses. You also are a business coach. What advice would you offer to someone who's just getting started in this journey?
Well, I find that there are a lot of people who have great ideas that they're passionate about, but don't know where to start to make it a viable business, right? So they come to me with that a lot. But the truth is that while you might be passionate about something and enjoy doing it as a hobby,
Mhm.
it has to be practical. And I say this because I encourage people to try to determine how this thing that they want to do and are passionate about, how can it address a real world problem? Because, of course, it's not a hobby then. You want to make some money out of it, right?
Certainly.
So, yeah. So, how does this address a problem? So that's one way to look at it. Um, so ask yourself, will this make life better for someone else? And there are a lot of things. And you may go into your kitchen often and say, I wish I had this. If you wish you had it, someone else is wishing they had it too. So that's kind of look at everything around. There's so much that can be done. And I'll tell
Absolutely.
you later on about something that one of my clients did that turned out well for them. But a good place to start, put your ideas on paper, right? And that's kind of what, when I work with people, write it down and let's see where it fits and where it will lead you. So,
Love it.
yeah.
Did you share a success story from your coaching business?
Yeah, which is
How
what
did you help them achieve their goals?
a good one that I can think of is I had this person who came to me and said, I want to do a business. Well, she wanted to do a business. So I said, so where are you in life? Where are you in your goals? And she said, I finished school. I have my degree. I'm frustrated. All my friends are frustrated. Rent is high. And she just kept going on. We're just, all my friends feel this way. Are we ever going to get ahead? Are we ever going to move out of our parents' house? So I said, you sound frustrated. And she said, yes. So I said, how can we turn that into a business, right? The frustration. And you would never believe we came up with a concept of a mobile rage room,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
So, so people who are frustrated want to break things sometimes,
Certainly.
right?
Certainly.
Sometimes people want to break things, and that's where we landed. And so now she has a pretty viable business where it's mobile. So if you're having a party and you want to have that experience, to have your guests get their frustration, it's done for divorce parties, uh, birthday parties, kids, teenagers who want to get, that extra thing out. So
Yeah.
she'll go set up a tent and they break stuff
Mm.
and pay
Very,
her for that.
very creative.
So like I said, you can make something out of a very small idea, but just
Love
look
it.
around you and see, how do I feel? It's sometimes it takes someone like me to help you to get it out.
Yes.
But it's there and you can get it
Yes.
out.
That reminds me of a quote from a movie a long time ago. See a need, feel a need.
There you
So
go.
when you
Yeah,
all were brainstorming ideas, she thought of a pain point that she had, that
yeah.
frustration, and something wonderful came out of it. I love
Something
it.
wonderful came out of it. Yeah. So
Mhm.
hopefully the book encourages conversations in families, right? Beyond what the book says. But in addition to that, I do go out and speak to groups, schools, and
Okay.
adults who want to be a little bit wiser in the things, all things internet, as much as it changes. But people want to be wiser because there are so many things that we don't know that happens. It's a growing thing. They're always trying to be a step ahead of us. So we go out and talk to people on how to manage that, how to um, navigate the screen time when the kids want to be on their um, 10 hours a day, you know, want to stay up late
Oh,
doing
yes.
that. One thing that I will say is parents, I always advise them, have your internet time in an open area,
Okay.
right? Not in the bedroom or the bathroom, because that's when issues happen. They need to be, I mean, I'm not saying that you need to be standing over them, because once you have set certain parental controls, they wouldn't be able to go on certain sites, right? So you have to take care of that. But you want to make sure that when they're on the internet, they are visible, not behind closed doors.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah, so that's one of the major things that I would say.
I would totally agree with that because I know someone whose child was sleep deprived because when they should have been sleeping, they were up playing video games, watching movies or shows, and that totally affected them. So I totally agree. It needs to be timed,
Of
especially
course,
for young children.
I will tell you that the video game thing is a pain point for me. I'm not an advocate of that because I find that on a lot of these games, they're playing with people they don't know.
Okay, very
And
unsafe. Mm.
and when you get used to playing with maybe this one person, they tend to slowly cross over into other things. So have to be careful with that and be aware of who your kids are playing with.
Certainly, certainly.
Yeah.
Okay, so for parents and educators looking to build safer and more productive habits for their children, are there any specific tools or resources that you can suggest?
Um, yeah, there's a wealth of resources out there. There is one YouTube channel that I would recommend. It's called Family Cyber Clinic.
Okay.
It's great because it gives you, as I said, I'm an acronym person, but a lot of the little codes that they use when they're on the internet are exposed to parents on this site. So we've gone past LOL, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we've gone way past LOL and to things like POS, parent over shoulder,
Oh,
or
wow.
PIR, parent in room, things like that, or it's a lot. So
Wow.
this YouTube channel gives you a lot of that information. So when they're typing, you see something like that, you're like, who are you talking to? And
Sure.
in addition to that, there are some things that they will use to hide their text messages and pictures. Like there's a site called Signal.
Okay.
Another one is Cover Me. There are some calculator apps. So here's one thing that parents should know. Your child's tablet or phone comes with a calculator, right?
Yes.
So there should be no need to download a calculator app. So what those
Correct.
apps, exactly, those apps are used to hide pictures, usually inappropriate pictures. So when you look at the phone, it's a calculator, but behind that calculator is all the stuff that they don't want you to see.
Oh,
So so be aware.
crafty.
There's Telegram and there's Discord, just different places where if they're crafty enough, they can hide stuff. So just
Mm,
be aware.
Wow.
You're
Thank you for
aware.
sharing that.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so are there any new projects, books, or initiatives that's coming up for you?
Always. So I am always I'm always looking for new projects. I recently completed a project with 12 amazing young African leaders and published a book about their entrepreneurial efforts all across Africa. So these are our 12 individuals who were chosen for the Mandela Fellowship. So they came
Wow.
to America, they were chosen and, showcased and learned for 6 to 8 weeks. They were in leadership training. And let's see if I have and they,
That's amazing.
yeah, this is
I
Africa.
love it.
Yeah. So this is the book that we came out of all their stories, which allows individuals to read about them and decide if they want to support any of those efforts that they're doing in Africa. So just some incredible young people. And it
Oh,
gives you a different perspective of Africa, which is what I like.
yes.
So I also did a book called Ice Cream Saturdays, which
Okay.
again encourages parents to talk to their children about things that are happening. So it's encourages dialogue is what I think when I think of that book. So usually between 7 to 10 year olds for that book.
Okay.
And then in terms of books that I'm working on, I'm always working on books. So there are
Wonderful.
two books that I'm working on. One is another children's book, all animals in that book, which should be fun for all ages. If you love dogs, it's a book about
When would that
like
one be released?
that should be by end of February or so of next year. Yeah. And then I have another one which is more geared towards young adults. And that one also will be sometime mid next year. That one is taking a little bit more research because, I like when I write about things, they are relatable. So, yeah. So
Oh,
lots going on.
you're a lot, and
A
that's
lot going.
wonderful. You're keeping busy and you're doing things that you're passionate about, which is
That's
beautiful.
that's what we all need to do. Yeah.
Mhm. So my next question for you is how can everyone, audience, get in contact with you, whether it's through your nonprofit, whether it's your coaching, whether it's about your books? Give us a link how we can contact you.
Right. So I can be reached for all of those things at JackieBartley.com. And that's spelled JACQUEBARTLEY.com. And there you will find the contact link where you can reach me directly with all your questions about books, about business. We can talk about your ideas. I do usually do an initial consultation with anyone. Um, and of course, for your audience, we can do something special in terms of, a free 15-minute consultation where we can
Great.
see where that leads you. And then we
Awesome.
go from there.
That sounds wonderful. Anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Um, what I would like to say is, especially for those with children who might have that entrepreneurial spirit. Sometimes you just have a kid that is going to go places. Um, Encourage curiosity,
Mhm.
right? Encourage that. They should be free to talk to you about any ideas that they have. Teach them the value of money.
Oh, yes.
Talk to your kids about saving and investment. So when they make it big, you know, they're not in the position that we see a lot of adults in. You get rich and then you go bankrupt, right?
Yeah, you lose it.
So, right. So introduce entrepreneurship early.
Mhm.
Um, years gone by, we had the lemonade stands and the little things. That was business, right?
Oh, yes.
Um, Nothing wrong with that today. Crafts. I met a lady recently who she had a business with her daughter. She collected all the old broken crayons, melted them, and they were selling, putting them in a mold for different shapes. They were selling these beautiful multicolored crayons in different shapes.
Wow.
And that's from her, old crayons that she
Oh,
melted.
that's very creative.
So yeah, so start them out. Um, doesn't have to be big, but if you see that they have that in them, if they're curious, encourage it. So that I think is a great start for young people. And of course, adults, work on what you're passionate about and see what you can do to make this world better. And that's what we're all trying to do.
Indeed. I love it. I love it. Well, Jackie, I thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. This has been such an insightful and engaging conversation. Your work, especially through your nonprofit organization, Every Child Matters International, your book, and your coaching business is truly inspiring and it's definitely making a big impact.
And I
So,
thank you for allowing me to pass on my little bit of the world to your world.
so to everyone watching, don't forget to grab a copy of Jacqueline's book, I Am Smart Online, and her other books as well. Where can they find your book again?
The book can also be found at jackiebartley.com, and they're also on Amazon Books.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you again, Jacqueline, for coming and sharing your expertise, your strategies, and your passion with us. And thank you to the audience for joining us today. Until next time, let's continue working together to build a brighter, a safer future for us all. Have a wonderful day.